Hello guys, welcome to NameTech channel. I hope this video finds you well. So this is CSS crash course part 7, and actually it is the last part on the CSS. After this we shall have a project where we shall design a simple website, and thereafter we shall go straight away to JavaScript. So today we are going to handle on the CSS website layout, gradients, transforms, and we shall finish with the transitions. So guys, before we get started, please subscribe to this channel and also give it a like, or perhaps you can also share to your friend or a relative, or to anyone who might want to know coding or web development. So let's go to our text editor. So this is my text editor. I'm using the Visual Studio Code. So you can use any text editor like Sublime Text, Notepad+, Dreamweaver, or whichever text editor you have. So this is my CSS, this is my HTML, and basically these are the codes that I've used to create these two lines here. This H1, my largest heading, and then this is H3, the least heading, the other heading. So but let me just clear everything so that we may begin afresh. With you, because you don't know if there might be someone whom this is their first time to code. So let me clear everything and then save. So I have my blank CSS, I have my blank HTML. So now on your HTML, if you're using the Visual Studio Code, you can just type exclamation mark and then I click and to create a structure for our web page. But if you're using the Sublime Text or any other text editor, you can just write HTML just in small letter without the angle brackets, and then click and it will create the structure for web page. But now I'm using the Visual Studio Code, so I just write the exclamation mark and then I click enter, then it gives me the structure for web page. And as I always tell you, that this first line defines the version of the HTML you're using. So actually this defines this, with this line it defines that this is HTML5, and then this second line defines the root of your document. This is a HTML document, and then the language is English, and then we have another section for head. So in the head we have this metadata. So this metadata defines the responsiveness of your page on different screens and devices. And then this title is what will appear the tab section. It will not appear the page, but at the tab section there. And then we have the body. So anything that you want to appear on your page should be between this start tag and then tag of the body, and then everything shall be under the HTML. So everything must not exceed this HTML closing tag. So now in this title, let's give it something like a CSS crash course part 7. CSS crash course part 7. So to see an example, so let me just I've saved, and then let me refresh on my browser. So guys, you can see, and nothing appears at the page when I write that CSS crash course part 7. But when you see at the tab section here, you can see I have my title that this is CSS crash course part 7. So basically the title will appear at the tab section, but if you want anything to appear the page, you write here at the body. So for instance, let's try to create a H1, and then let me just copy the same heading, the same title, and then copy and paste between the start tag and then the end tag of the H1, and then save. So guys, you can see we have the title or the heading on your page. But today we are not going to focus on these tabs. We are going to focus on the website layout and so forth. So let me just clear everything here. Before I clear, guys, I want to create a div here. So that I may have a proper space for coding, for for displaying our stuffs here at the browser. So let me create a div, and then I create some margin top there. some margin at the top so that it may give us enough space. So let me say create an inline CSS. So styles, a style, then let me say margin top and give it something like a 500 pixel. So when I click Ctrl+S and then on the browser refresh, Ctrl+R to refresh. So guys, you can see I have my enough space here now that we can code very well without we can display our page very well without limitation of space. So now let's go to our text editor, and then I told you that today we are going to discuss on the CSS website layout. So before then, let me clear everything here at the page. So now what do you know about the CSS website layout? So our website is often divided into different categories. We usually have the header, we have the menus, we have the content, and then perhaps we have the footer. So the header is usually located at the top of the website, or right below a top navigation bar. It may be below the navigation bar, or basically it often contains a logo, or a website name, and then the navigation bar always contains a list of links that helps the visitors navigate through your website easily. And then the content, the layout. Now in the content, the layout in this content often depends on the target users. So in the most common layout is one or combining them of the following. Like if someone is using a mobile phone, it is always good to style or to make it a single column. If someone is using a laptop or a tablet, it's good to have maybe 2 columns, and then if someone is using a desktop, 3 columns not bad for them. And then we usually have the footer. So the footer is placed at the bottom of your page. At the bottom of your page, it's often contain information like the corporate, or sometimes your contact info and so forth. So we are going to begin with the header. So with the header, let's create a div first of all here, a div. And then in this div, in this first tag, let's create a class and give it header. Let's say header. So now between the these two divs, let me create a h1, and let me say header. So let me just click Ctrl+S to save, and then on the browser refresh. So guys, you can see I have my header now. This is now my header, but it appears we haven't styled it yet. So let's go to our CSS and style it further. So before you go to the CSS, ensure that you've linked your external CSS to this HTML document of yours. So just write a link to link your CSS or CSS to your HTML document, and then in this hyperreference, just write the exact name is you named your CSS. So I named my CSS, and my CSS is my styles.css. So let me just write that name exactly the way it is. So my styles.css, and then click Ctrl+S to save, and then go to your CSS now to code. Otherwise, anything that you write on the in your external CSS will not have any effect on your page, because you haven't linked. So it's always good to ensure that you have linked your external CSS to your HTML document. So now in these headers of ours, so in the body, let's first of all give it body. Let's give it the margin. So just body the selector, and then a margin, you can give it something like 0 margin. Let it be 0 first of all. 0. So now let's go to style that header. So the selector is header, so just dot header. The selector is header, and then I can say open and close the curly braces and say first of all, let's give it a background color. Background color you can give it any color or a value. Remember, you can use the values, or you can use the name. So like for instance, let me use the value here. So let me say f1, f1 to give a gray color, light gray color, and then perhaps let's have some padding. So padding, let's give it something like a 20 pixel, and then and the next thing is the text align. Let's align the text to be at the center. So align the text to be centered. Then I click Ctrl plus S to save. Then on the browser refresh, Ctrl plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see I have my header here, very beautifully designed, or designed. So this is now my header. So my header usually contains the name of the website you're having. So like my website, I have a website, but I haven't hosted. So if I give it something like a name tag, if I say name tag, that will be the name of my website. Name tag underscore ke, and then I click Ctrl plus S to save, and then I here refresh. So this is the name of my website. That will be the name of my website. Yeah. So basically this is the header. And then now the other thing that you need to have on your page, on your website layout, is the navigation bar. So the navigation bar, as I told you earlier, it contains the list of links that help the users to navigate to your page easily. Like they can go to the contact section easily, they can go to the about, and so forth. So to begin with, let's go to our text editor, and then below this div, let's create another div. Let's create another div. So div, and then I click enter. So inside the div, we are going to create our links there. But before then, let's create a class. Remember, you have different divs here. You have div, you have also the div here, the footer. So if you just write div without a class, it will affect the rest of the divs. So it's good to have a class. So the class is you can give it something like you can say, maybe you say top navigation bar. So let me say just top nav. That's my my class. So now in the content, now you can have our a tag. Remember, a defines this is a hyperlink. So the hyperreference, you can say, you can give it a hash because you don't have a URL. So the hash usually is like creating a template or for testing, for testing. So let me just copy this, and then now paste several there. So how many of them are there? There are 5. So in this first one, I can say something like home. The second one can be something like let's say about. The other one can be blogs. Let's say blogs. The other one can be contacts. So when I click Ctrl plus S to save, and then on the browser, you can have your list there. but not that properly designed, because we haven't styled it yet. So basically those are hyperlinks. If you, with the HTML, if you haven't visited it, if you haven't visited a link, it is always underlined in the blue. If you click on it, it will be purple. So you can see our links are purple. If it's an active link, it is always red. So just look at these links. So when I just click on it, you just see the color changes to red. So that defines that that's an active link. So now let's go to our CSS and style it so that it may be a proper link. So let's go to our CSS and say so just write full stop, and then say top nav. The class was top nav, but now we want to target the link. We want to target the link, or before then you can top nav. Before the link, let's have the top nav itself. So open and close the curly braces and say the background color. Let's give it something like which color? You can give it a color like any color. Let me choose any, and then let's create some maybe let's say an overflow to be hidden. Overflow, you can say it's hidden. Overflow, let's say hidden. So then the other thing that we want us to target the link now, the link, change the link color and so forth. So now in the top nav, but now we target the link itself. So open and close the curly braces and say float to be left. So so that your links may go from right to left. So the floats, let's make it left, and then the display should be block, always block. Display should be block, and then the other thing, you can give it a color. Color, you can use a value or the name. So I can give it any color, like let's say I can give it any color, like let's say F2. So this color will be a bit whitish, and then I give it the alignment of the text to be centered. So text align. So text align should be centered. So the text align is centered, and then you can have some padding there. So padding, you can give it 14 pixel top and bottom, and then you can save 16 pixel from left to right, 16 pixel from the left and the right. And then text decoration, let's remove those those underlines, the lines below the text. So you can see the text, our text is underlined. So to remove them, use the text decoration. So text decoration, let's make it none. None. So now let's change the, when someone have on that link, so that it may change to another color. So let's say actually you begin with the first top and say top nav, but now when you have on it, when you have, or when you place a cursor on it, you can change the color. you can change the background color, and the background color can give it any. The other one was a bit, so you can choose this indigo, and then perhaps the color of the text, color let it be white. So white to use the FFF. Then I click Control plus S to save. Control plus S to save, and then on the browser just refresh, Control plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see I have my navigation bar. I have my navigation bar. So you can as well decide to align your in this content to go to this other end by using the float right. So you go to your HTML and have you go to this HTML for contacts and have your inline CSS, so styles, style, and say float, and then you can say right. Then Control plus S to save, and then refresh. So guys, you can see our contacts now are the right, and then the rest are here. So this is now how you can style your what this is the navigation bar. So the other thing that we want us to talk about is the the columns, or those are content, now the content itself on your website. So and then I'm going to use the example for with the columns. So I'm going to create columns there. So let's go to our text editor, and then after this let me go to my HTML. Remember, you go to the HTML first of all, and then you can give it a class. You can give it a class and say actually before the class you give it div and say actually before then ensure that you split it, and then you can also create another div here. So div, so in this div you can say this first div, now you can say this is now where you can write your your heading and paragraphs. But in this first div, let me say give it a class, so class to be raw, and then this second class, now the column. So remember this class, this first line for your class is where I'm going to write different columns. So everything should be between this first div and then the second div, so everything will be here. So in this second div, now I'm going to create another class for column. So I'm going to create a class, so class, and then say you can give it, you can say column. What the correct spelling for column? Is that the way column is written? Column, I don't know. And then you can have your h2. So in the h2 you can say give it something like column 1. Let me say column 1, or let me say left column, left column, and then you can have your paragraphs there. So just write P for paragraph, is the tag for paragraph, and then you can generate some text, lorem, then click enter, then you can write also, you can generate another lorem, so lorem, and another lorem, so lorem again, lorem, and yeah, so this is perfect. So I have my paragraph here. I have my paragraph, and then now what else? So after this first div, after this div, let me just copy and create several of them. So let me just copy to this part, and then maybe paste, so that I may have three columns here. So this is my I've created 3 paragraphs here. So these paragraphs here, so let me save, and then on the browser, so it will appear just a single column because I haven't styled it yet. So guys, you can see it's just a single column, single column. But now so let me change the names. Let me change the names and say this. Let me say rename these are the sender column. Sender column. Actually, not really. Let me say sender. And then this other one, let me say right column. So guys, if you haven't used the CSS, it will just appear as a single column. So guys, you can see I have left column, right column, actually center column, and right column. So let's go to our CSS and style it so that we may have those 3 columns there. So go to your what? Go to your CSS, and then in this first line you can say what? You can say dot column. Remember, the common denominator here is a div, but now we use the full stop dot the name of the class to distinguish them. So just write column, and then you can say float left. Also you can give it a width. So width, let's give it something like 35%, or let's say 33, or let me just say some 34%. Yeah, 34% or 35, or whichever value you might choose. And then let's have some padding. So padding, you can give it something like a 15 pixel. Yeah. So, and then let's go to another step. So the row, so full stop dot row. So full stop dot row, but now after, so that it may arrange from the right to from left to right. So after first column, it goes to another one. So after, so row, and then these are the full column, then say after. So after, and then you can open and close the curly braces. Not really, it shouldn't be the 2 columns. I wrote by mistake. Open and close the curly braces, and you can say content, and then in the content, ensure you put this to what, the speech mark, they are called quotation marks, I don't know. So ensure you put this I guess quotation mark, and then now the display should be always should be table, and then clear, another property, clear both, we choose both. So let's go to another selector here. now the responsiveness of your page on different screens. So we use the media, the art media, to to categorize your page or a display of your page on different screens. So we are going to choose to use the media. So you begin with the art and say media screen. We choose this media screen. So media screen, and then you add and open and close this. They are called what, this bracket. Yeah, the bracket, the common bracket, just the common bracket, and then say max the max width is, give it 600. So let's 600. So 600 pixel. Yeah, pixel. After it, you can have this your curly braces, and then you can say you can say the width to be 100. So give it a width and say 100%. Yeah, 100%. Before here you can have another selector here. So this here, before this you write a dot column, and then you ensure that you close at the end here. Always ensure that you close your curly braces. So this is now the display of your page on different screens. So guys, ensure that you have saved your work very well on both CSS and HTML. So click Ctrl+S on CSS, and then on HTML Ctrl+S, and then click Ctrl+R. And so guys, you can see I have my content, but now it's appearing as a single column because I've zoomed in. So to create those, because I've created the display on different large screens and the small screen, that's why it's bringing a single column, because I've zoomed in. So when I zoomed out, guys, you can see I have my 3 columns here. So you can see I have my 3 columns here. So basically this is how you can easily add your columns to your page. To your page. So now the other thing that we want us to talk about is the footer. So with the footer, footer is where now you can write your corporate stuff, and perhaps the you can write your contact info. So perhaps let's create a div here and the HTML. Remember at the end of this div, at the end of this this div here, so create a above the body, the close integral of the body, create a div and say you can write corporate. You can write at corporate. Is it like that? Corporate, at corporate, and perhaps let me say name tag, design, and then so we are going to create a class here. Remember, it's always good to create a class, because if you don't create a class, it will affect other divs, because we have several divs here. So if you can't categorize it, just affect the rest of the divs. So just create a class and say footer. Then I click Ctrl plus S to save, and then on the browser just click Ctrl plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see at the bottom here I have my copyright stuff, but I want to style it so that it may be at the center and perhaps displayed to be displayed very well. So let me go to my CSS, and then at the end of this stuff, let me say dot footer. Remember the common stuff is common denominator is div, so you just write full stop dot footer, the footer. Then open and close the curly braces, and perhaps let's give it the background color. You can choose any color, like let me choose which color. Let me choose one of these, and then perhaps that's the background color, and then you can give it padding, like you can say 20 pixel or whichever you want. Remember the padding is the space around the what your content, around your characters, around your H1, your paragraph. And then perhaps another thing that we want us to style here is the text align. We want to make it appear at the center, so just click text align and then click center, then Ctrl plus S to save, and then here refresh, Ctrl plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see I have my footer here. So basically this is the layout of a web page, and perhaps if you don't mind, you can have the background color for the entire page. So to add the background color of the entire page, you go to the body and say background color. You can choose any color, like you can say let me choose a color here, perhaps a lighter color. Let me choose this one, and then click Ctrl plus S to save, and then on the browser Ctrl plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see I have my my color, very very beautiful. Also here the header, perhaps let me change the color so that it may be that presentable. So just go where by this time I didn't rename the comments. I didn't have the comments, so that's why it's bringing some very very boring stuff. So click Ctrl plus S, and then on the browser Ctrl plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see I have my header, I have my navigation bar, and then I have here my my content, the body, actually the content, and then I have my footer here. So basically this is how you can easily style your this is the layout of a page actually. So we have the header. The header is now you can write the name of your website, or you can add a logo, and then you have the navigation bar. So this navigation bar helps the users, or your users, to navigate to other pages easily without struggling or wasting a lot of time. And then this is now the content of your your website. So like I've just used these lorem stuffs so that we can generate easily the text. But if you are creating a the clear website, you can write the the good stuffs. So basically this is now the design of our website. So let's go to another thing. So guys, the other thing that we were to look at was the gradient. So the gradient, these are help you to transit, or to to display smooth transition between two or more specified color. So we have three types of gradients. You have the linear gradients. This can go from down to up, from up to bottom, from left to right, or right to left, from diagonal. So basically, let's today I'm going to focus on linear, but the others have the same effect, but I'm just using the linear so that we may for the sake of this tutorial, remember it's a crash course, so we don't have to know everything. So let me reduce the margin of the space here. Let me give it 400, and then here just create a div, and you can say id, and then you say hash, then grad1, and then click Ctrl plus S. Then to your CSS now, write a hash, then say grad1. Remember this was grad1. So here also it is grad1. It's grad1 here, and then actually you are not supposed to write here hash. You just write grad1, and then on the and save, and then on the CSS now is where you write hash, then grad1, then open and close the curly braces, and perhaps let's say you can give it a height, so height, height, you can give it even 200 pixel. And then the other thing we have now, the gradient itself, you give it background image. You use the property which is gradient background image, and then you choose linear background, and then you can choose your two colors. So let me say red, and perhaps blue, yeah. And then but there might be some browsers which do not accept or accept this background, the gradient effects. So you give them an option of the background color. So you say background color, you give them to be, perhaps you can give it red or any other color, and then save. So go to your browser, and then refresh, Ctrl plus R to refresh. So guys, you can see you have the our linear gradient. So at the top we have, it goes from top to bottom. So at the top we have the red, then from to bottom we have the you have blue, but you can have as many colors as you can. Oh yeah, it does accept. So when I so but I don't know why it's not accepting white. Let me pick here white, and then there let me choose blue, then I click Ctrl plus S to save, and then here I refresh, Ctrl plus R to refresh. Yeah guys, you can see here, this is what I wanted. So at least from the top we have red, bottom we have blue, and then we have the at the bottom we have we have blue, something blue, but you can specify, you can make it even go from this left to right. So basically I just don't want to show you the very basics of adding those gradients, so you can do more practice. So perhaps the other thing that we were to look at is the transitions. So transition allows you to change the property values smoothly over a given duration. So to my text editor, first of all to my HTML, and let me say to this, at the end of this div, or let me say at the end of this div, and then I'm going to create an effect there, some effect, and then perhaps create a div, and then you can give it a class, maybe you say transition to transition. Yeah, transition. And then you can give it yeah, first of all save, and then go to your CSS, here is your CSS, and then create another line here and say div, actually say dot transition. So transition, then open and close the curly braces. Open and close the curly braces. I want to make something square, so that a square or a circle, perhaps a circle. Let me say square. So width, I want to create a box, perhaps width, let's give it 100 pixel, and then the height, let me give it something like again 100. It's a square, so 100 pixel, and then let me add some background there. So background color, I can say what, let me choose a color here, let me say yellow. Yeah, yellow is the color. And then perhaps you need to add some transition period. So transition, so transition, you give it in seconds. So transition width, they say perhaps 2 seconds, 2 seconds. And then perhaps when you have let it have some other effects. So you say dot transition, then a colon, full colon, and then you say a hover, and then open and close the curly braces. So now when I hover, let's give it let's it have another width. So width I can say 200 pixel, and then the height. So height, I can say again now, let it be something like again 200 pixel. Yeah, 300 pixel, 200 pixel, and then ensure that you save. So click Ctrl+S to save, and then on the browser just click Ctrl+R to refresh. So guys, you can see when I have on it, the height changes. So guys, you can see. Let me choose another color. This yellow stuff's not pleasing to me. Perhaps let me say a darker color. Ctrl+S to save, and then I refresh, Ctrl+R. So guys, you can see it's now bringing the other size. So this is basically the transitions. So perhaps let me try to add something here. So let me say background color, when you transit to be something like spring green, Ctrl+S. Don't know if it will have that effect, Ctrl+R. So when it transits, you can see it changes to another color. When I remove the cursor, I can see it turn to the default color, which is something like purple. So basically this is how you can add those transitions. So guys, let's end this video here. I really appreciate you for your time. So guys, the next time we shall meet, we shall discuss, we shall have a project where we shall design a website, a simple website, and thereafter we shall go to JavaScript straight away. So guys, basically today I've talked to you about the CSS website layout, where we have talked about the header, and then the header, for our case we named it as name tag, So this is our header, and then we talked about the navigation bar. So these are the navigation bar. This helped users, to navigate to different pages or different sites without wasting a lot of time. Then we talked about the content. So then I created these 3 columns, and then we talked about the footer. So the footer here we wrote corporate at name tech design, or you can say it in anything. And then we talked about the gradient. So this is the gradient that we created. And then we talked about the these are transitions, but the thing that we haven't talked about is the transformation. We shall discuss later, but for the sake of time I feel like I'm tired, so we shall discuss later. Perhaps probably when we will be designing our website, we shall talk about the those transformation. We shall have a transformation on our website. So by now, guys, I really appreciate you for your precious time. So let's meet probably after this festive season. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. See you later.